G'day, HM Hart here. Welcome to dystopia. Borderline relationships, unfortunately, for those that are untreated, have patterns of not even diagnosed. They're like very dystopian experiences in the microcosm. And in the macrocosm, we all know that the world is losing its mind, so to speak, in some elitist collective fashion. However, what am I here to talk about really? Well, AI. Not in depth about AI, but AI and people. I had lots of clients in the last little while mentioning how they've been using AI as a therapist. Not a good idea. And so there's that, right? A lot of people are not just Googling stuff anymore, but going really in depth and talking to like these AI, whatever they're called things, as a therapist. Well, AI makes a lot of mistakes. I've had some clients explain they've learned a lot from it, doing that with AI as if it's a therapist. But you have to remember, like, obviously it's not human. Obviously it doesn't understand feelings. And obviously it has a bias to give you what you want to hear. A bias to give you, whatever your input is. There's a bias to, like, somehow agree with you. And who knows? I've had clients explain that they've gotten information that's really helped them, but yet they're still my clients, right? They still have to work with a human being. And I'm out here to work with you if I resonate with you. I have 36 years experience in helping people heal and recover from BPD or NPD breakups, a parent with BPD, family, narcissistic or, dysfunctional family of origin, etc., and healing your codependency. That's 31 years online experience and 5 years before I got online experience working in a hospital setting in the psychiatry or not psychiatry, what am I saying? The mental health area, and working with clients. But so AI is more than upon us. AI is very dangerous. But people are getting information from it. And then people have this impression that they really, well, you might know more, but you know more intellectually. And knowing more intellectually, it won't be all that accurate. It won't be all that in depth. But yes, it can feel very helpful. It could be helpful, some of it. It can feel like you're really getting somewhere, but you're not. You are maybe sort of, but you're not. Because what people in trying to understand borderline personality or narcissistic personality or other things in mental health as well, it can give you this false sense of like you're getting really further ahead than you are. Because intellectual understanding and getting some information that can be correct or helpful from AI, meanwhile, there are many pitfalls and you have to be very emotionally careful. But what you learn in your IQ isn't going to help you heal in your emotional intelligence area, in the need to do the work in a healing and recovery process from BPD, NPD breakups, from discards, from sudden discards, from ghosting, etc., and all the trauma you've been through, the loss of self, and the fact that most people have codependency, and you need to heal that, and that goes back to family of origin and etc. So it's really about learning is important, okay, but AI is risky business. And the thing is, then you need to take what you've learned from AI. I mean, I've had many clients ask me questions. They've got the answers from AI. I'm not here to say I'm smarter than bots. I mean, I don't know. But in this subject area, I'm certainly a lot more nuanced. I'm human. I'm not a bot. And I have a lot of experience on both sides, personally and professionally, and working with clients for so long, as I said, 3 decades plus. And the other thing I think is really important to know is that it's the actions you're going to take in actual healing and recovery with a human being. That's still the best way to go. But be careful of who you choose to work with out there, because I'm pretty busy, but I'm always taking new clients, and And I know what I'm talking about. I just happen to know I know what I'm talking about, but that's up for you to decide, I guess. But maybe if you resonate with me, you want to work with me. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people for 31 years online have been doing just that. And I'm very busy now too, but never too busy for new people. But what I wanted to say about that was, so not everybody's going to resonate with me, right? Obviously not. But be very careful, please, of the Coachie Coaches, because I've been watching a few recently, and it's very disturbing. So you got your AI, and you're going to get your intellect, some information, maybe some misinformation at the same time, believe it or not. But you need to put that and more into a healing and recovery process, working with someone who knows what they're doing. Like I really do know what I'm doing with people and helping people. I've had these journeys myself in my own recovery decades ago. And so the point is, these Coachie Coaches, I would say, especially there's a couple out there, they are strongly, using buzzwords. Now, when I say self-individuation, individuation, family of origin, family systems and wounding and attachment. When I use terms like that, I'm actually using them for what they mean. I know what they mean, and I can explain that more to you if I'm working with you one-on-one, and I help clients understand a lot of things that isn't just like a bot AI giving you like vast information or whatever it does. I hear it's pretty quick or something, but bottom line is, it's like, not only information that I give clients, not only homework and process and things to do to help yourself out, to learn emotionally, to grow emotionally, to heal emotionally. It's also just sometimes I am just giving answers and information, but a lot of times I'm asking questions, and then there's homework, etc. And all of this helps you to be in action in your own healing. I see a lot of these Coachie Coaches out there and other people that just don't know what they're talking about. They're using all the buzzwords and, copying off of me as usual. I'm not saying everybody but yeah, it's really pronounced and obvious in the last couple months, someone doing that, because they copy the buzzwords. And then what do they do with that? Because they don't know what they're talking about, allegedly, I would allege, in my opinion. Overall, they don't know what they're talking about, and they don't understand how to help people heal, really, but they want your money anyway. And that's the bottom line for them. So, and they may have egos that are out of control, and all of these lovely things that should be red flags that you should choose someone else. Bottom line is, they're using, it's my opinion, and I allege that they are heavily using AI for their content, be they a YouTuber, be they somebody writing on one of those, social places where people write stuff, and everybody says the borderline does this, and then my borderline did that, and all borderlines are the same, which is not going to help anybody. Because how do you think it's going to help you, AI or a Coachie Coach? Because it's kind of the same thing, because the Coachie Coaches are milking, at least a few of them are, allegedly, I say, milking AI and then delivering it to you as a little bit reformed, and sometimes not even much reformed, organization and content of AI. I've watched them. These are people that don't know half of what they're talking about, like individuation and family of origin work and a whole lot of other of the words that are important to use, but I don't use as buzzwords. And then all of a sudden they're coming up with all these ways to explain it. Yeah, AI. So you have to be careful of that, because the last thing you need if you're using AI yourself, which is, like I said, there's information there, but you got to be careful, and it's not going to heal you, that information. But if you're using AI and then you go to work with somebody who's using AI for the content you're watching, and then you think, oh, that makes sense, you're probably you might not recognize the sentences exactly, but you're probably getting the exact same information from the Coachie Coach using AI, and when you use AI yourself. There's nothing behind that, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way to really be helped to heal, especially when a couple of the Coachie Coaches and one I've seen recently, they just keep talking so quickly, so circularly, in circles, I should have said, that they're throwing buzzwords around. They're collecting buzzwords and throwing them around and saying things about your nervous system and things like this that don't make any sense. If you really listen to it, like I've tried, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm just saying, like caveat emptor out there, let the buyer beware, be careful. Because not everybody's going to want to work with me. I get that. That's fine. And, but if you do, that's great. And well, I mean, I know I'm trustworthy. And I know from what I see from these Coachie Coaches, it's a whole different type of thing that they try to do with people. And they start out by saying it's either what they've done, how they've done it, and what they know now, when that's obviously often not true. That's not reliable. Like when I say I've done certain processes decades ago, yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm going to work with you and tell you that you need to do it this way and only do this, and there's a right way to heal and there's a wrong way to heal. That's not true either. And that, there's this phase, don't you know? If you have codependency, or they don't even talk about codependency much, these couple of Coachie Coaches out there. And anyway, then they'll say, here's where your healing fails. Here's what you need. Your healing won't fail if you keep staying in the process, working with someone like myself who really cares about you getting where you need to go and healing. I'm not like saying you need to do what I did, or like I don't have a huge ego. I really don't. I mean, the way that I work with clients is client-centered and client-focused. And I can tell you these Coachie Coaches don't even know what that means. So, and they are majorly men, these Coachie Coaches, and they are majorly men who either have narcissistic personality or narcissistic personality traits, that ego presence that suggests that they find it normal to say, well, they're misogynist often. And if there's a woman out there doing this at all, she would be misandric, and that wouldn't be good for men. And misogyny isn't good for women. And framing things in such old sort of gender role ways, I think that's a big red flag. And that's probably the one thing they say in their videos or audios or writing or wherever they are that is not from AI. So you have to be really aware not only of how you're using, if you are using AI. I really don't believe it's the right way to go. I really believe it's going to be it's a horrible thing already with a horrible effect on humanity. And one of the things I know about working with people after BPD or NPD relationship breakups, etc., or if you were the psychopath or whatever the situation may be, then like what's really important is empathy and compassion, that I hear you, that I understand you, that I'm with you, that I feel with you and for you. These Coachie Coaches are too busy with wanting to tell you how to do everything because they don't know what they're talking about. And they don't know what it means to be a mental health professional and to work with clients. They really don't. So you have to be careful. But the other thing I just wanted to say about AI as well, I mean, like these people out there that don't know what they're doing, they're using it big time. So now they might sound a whole lot better than they used to. But these egoic, some more so than others, but some very egoic, very like not healthy egoed individual men out there that are Coachie Coaches they share a couple things in common, but I'll just highlight. Well, use of AI for their content and not really editing much, and listen for it, watch for it. And the other thing is they've got wounded egos that they haven't healed, maybe mother wounds, etc. And they can be very misogynistic. And I don't think it helps most men to be listening to misogynistic, egoic, ego-driven, I can help you with everything. I know I did it. If you don't do this right, you'll do that wrong. It's just it's just like, it turns out to be like an autocratic style of trying to, quote, inform, unquote, you. It's not based in compassion, true experience of working through their own problems, their own issues, their own childhoods enough, though they will all say they've done that. So, I just felt like I wanted to say this because it's so alarming to me. But I'm not the world's protector, and I'm not here to tell you who to work with. I'm just here to keep you real, to help you heal. The way that I do things, I like to think, at least, it's a very empathic, compassionate, client-centered, client-focused, human, right? Feeling and caring way. And that's all so important. And I'm not, by the way, when I mention misogyny, I always want to be clear on this channel. I don't think most men are misogynists at all. There are some, right? A lot of them are narcissists. And then there are just others out there, but whatever. But I've been working with predominantly more men for 31 years online. And so when I do say something about some of these Coachie Coaches, these men are Coachie Coaches and being very misogynistic, they are. I just heard one. I listened. Ooh, it was not pleasant. And so the thing is, I don't believe all men are like that. I'm not a feminist. So whenever I have to use that term to describe something, I really just want all of you men out there to remember that, not only my experience base, but where I'm coming from with that, because I don't think that misogyny always only just hurts women. And I don't think that misandry always only just hurts men, because wherever somebody is misogynistic, that's going to affect, men hearing some things about women they care about. And, that's hatred of women, misogyny, right? And misandry, hatred of men by women. Well, that's going to affect other women too. Like if I hear somebody who's really full of misandry, like a narcissistic female, for example, hating men because of woundedness in childhood, but still, like, it becomes this all or nothing mishmash of just like, it hurts everybody, I believe. Because here I'm trying to give you the message of how humanity and skilled individuals like myself, with a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, which I say as humbly as I can, how that is what you need more than somebody who's pushing AI information around at you that you may be getting yourself, right? And then what is the process of working with people? Well, I think it's all about accepting who the person is, meeting people where they are, and being respectful and being compassionate. And even sometimes when things get a little difficult or somebody gets upset or they're just, having a lot of emotion or what have you, it's not, it's not taking it personally. And the biggest thing I can say about how I work with clients and how these Coachie Coaches are showing that they can't possibly know how to do this, it's not taking things personally and not telling you what to do. So again, if you resonate with me and you would want to work with me, I don't require, like some of these Coachie Coaches, I don't require that you're no contact. I don't require that you know the relationship is over. You can come, book a session with me, and please do purchase it before you schedule it on the calendar on my at ajmahari.ca/sessions. I appreciate that. The bottom line is, you come as you are. You come wherever you're at. You come with whatever you know. You come with what you don't know. You come with all the pain you're in. You come with the lost self often. You come with being really confused. And I also do work with people with BPD. And yes, I've worked with some people with NPD. So I see the whole gamut. I see the whole spectrum. And it helps me to understand everybody more, not less. But the bottom line is, be careful with AI, not only what you're doing with it or choosing to do with it, because it's the action of working with somebody like myself who knows what they're doing that helps you to be healing. I help people to help themselves heal. I don't have a magic wand. Boom, you're healed. I don't tell you how to do it. There's no really right, wrong, and your healing's going to fail here if you don't do this. And the first phase of your healing journey is you need to find out what a healthy relationship is. I mean, this is all the stuff I'm hearing lately. And I'm in a very awkward situation with what I'm talking about and what I've been hearing, and I can't say why. And somebody has skillfully put me in a box, and I don't appreciate it. So, if they have anything to say to me, they could talk to me, I guess, again, but I really know why they've been talking to me in the first place. Bottom line is, I've never had this happen, and I did have a gut instinct, and I knew that it was going to be a skillful data mining situation with a mix of something else. So, from that perspective, no, I'm not traumatized, but it is a very unpleasant experience to be played. And that's what's going to happen to you should you choose the Coachie Coaches with all the big, the words inserted that sound so good and the circular, what they're talking about and all this other stuff they do because they're using AI. And AI might be a bit of an educator, but it ain't going to make up for a university education in psychology, which I have, and more. It doesn't make up for that, and yet these people keep coming along. What are they most concerned with? Well, they'll say it's you and that they know what you've been through and they're all fine and healthy now and stuff like that. And they'll say they're authentic when they could be the most inauthentic. And how have I ascertained that, and why do I know that about some out there? I can't really say, but you need to be very careful, because my biggest concern and why I come out with these messages once in a while and when I've encountered things, so to speak, and seen things that I can certainly discern are not going to help people. I'm not coming from a competitive place with these people. I really just truly care that people don't pick the wrong people, fall for the wrong line or whatever they're doing with their slick nature of what they say really quickly, talk so fast, etc. Because more people than not get traumatized by these supposed, quote, coachy helpers or whatever. These people are paying attention to their wallets, ladies and gentlemen. That comes way before you do. And so, big statement to make, but it's true. And that's not me. I never went into this work to get rich. I don't expect to ever be rich, and I'm fine with that. I care about people for real. You will hear these other people say how much they care about you too, but their wallet is in between them and you, as is often their egos. And so you have to make up your own mind. But remember, AI and or Coachie Coaches using AI to deliver information to you wherever they are on the internet, really know what it's going to take for you to heal. And I just want to end by saying, and you do not need to first learn what a healthy relationship is in your healing process. In fact, that's the last thing you need to try to do. I think I said in a short somewhere, you can read a book, but you're not really going to understand. Yeah, you're going to get it up here, but to heal and recover, it's not about up here. It's about your nervous system. It's about rewiring. It's about your emotional maturing and working to heal not only what happened to you in a cluster B relationship and how you lost yourself and you're traumatized, etc., but the multi-layered then down to the family of origin issues, because codependency is an adaptation to adverse experience, unmet needs, or trauma in childhood. So please know there is no easy solution, no fancy way a coachy can, push around AI information that's really going to be helpful to you in any process. People will choose to work with whomever they want. And the last thing I'll say is that all these coaches out there, without exception, I've had many clients who come to work with me after they've gone that direction, which was their choice and everything. I don't judge that. And because I got hooked in by something that these people couldn't deliver clearly. And so I have had clients, many clients, come to me after working with those Coachie Coaches, and they are re-traumatized, and they tell me that. So I'm not just saying be careful because you could end up re-traumatized by them. I'm saying it because I have a plethora of evidence of said that obviously is confidential, so I can only make a general statement about it. So AI information is always good to be taking in, but so much of it out there, and even with AI, isn't going to be that helpful. And especially to people with loved ones. People, you people out there that have been like really hurt by somebody with BPD, and you were an ex, or you love somebody with BPD or NPD, whatever the case, because I don't use AI, okay? I'll be honest. I tried using some bot thing somewhere, I don't know what it was called, to just help me make better titles. And it couldn't even do that. So I would say, could you suggest 10 titles on whatever? And I only did this like 4 times, and I forget it. And like they were bad titles. They were like paragraphs, and I'm like, ugh. And so, because I'm always wondering what to title things, it's not my strongest suit. Anyway, I sometimes look at all the suggestions, like 3 or 4 times I tried this, and it's like, ew, can't use any of those. And then I'd have a thought in my head, and then I'd be like, maybe a word or two would pop up, but you could do that like just by looking at anything. The bottom line is I didn't even find AI helpful to suggest a title for something that I had already made the content to. Like, if I went to AI to ask, what should I call this? I won't, and I don't use AI. I have an education, and I've kept upgrading that education, and I have the cataracts right now, so reading isn't so cool, but I'm doing listen to audiobooks. But I mean, I keep abreast of, some of the changing information out there, or some of the new research, but most of it is big pharma, hegemony of the American Psychiatric Association with big pharma. So, there's so much out there that people claim is going to help you so much. And really what I find, and this ages me and whatever, but I'm in my late 60s, and what I find is that the tried and true, the really known for a long time, the pioneers like Otto Kernberg, the late great Dr. James F. Masterson, the late wonderful Dr. John Gunderson, so many of these people, Heinz Kohut, even a little bit of Freud here and there, but hey, Jungian things, Dr. Thomas Zaz, who was a psychiatrist who created a humanistic psychology movement in mental health. I'm just trying to think of a few others. Dr. William Glasser with reality therapy. There's someone else on the tip of my mind here, but there's so many of them that left us so much amazing wisdom in so many ways. And believe it or not, what AI can spit at you, what the Coachie Coaches using AI will spit out at you, and their different presentations, but often hyper and really energetic and buzzwords all over the place. But like, how does it hang together? Anyway, I don't think it hangs together. But the bottom line is, the tried and true is what I believe in. And in mental health, how much is really old-fashioned? I think most of the pioneers I mentioned, and there are several more, Carl Rogers, Rogerian, client-focused therapy, client-centered therapy, so many others, Eric Byrne, endless amount of people that I've studied, and or when I was in university quite a while back, like these things were taught to us, like John Bradshaw, for crying out loud, and what he did with Inner Child, so many things. And yet now there are so many people out there just Coachie Coaches getting their info off AI. And there are others out there, a certain professional that's come along to say that BPD and NPD is 100% biological. No, it isn't. I can say no, it isn't, because there's no way we know that. There might be some heritability, but again, it's all relative. And these people are all trying to, like the Coachie Coaches, make names for themselves, sell their books, money, 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 money. So that's all I can really say from my perspective, knowing who I am and knowing why I do the work I do and knowing that my heart is in the right place. And for those of you that might find this informative or helpful or help you make a choice if you want to work with me, I am a real Christian, okay? I've seen some stuff out there I don't know. I can't say, but I'm a real Christian. And I'm not a fundamentalist Christian. And I'm not an evangelical Christian. And I'm not the type of Christian that is going to force anything about that on anybody who doesn't believe in any religion or has a different religion or whatever. I really just like to connect with clients, respect clients, be client centered and client focused as I work with a plethora of different people, as everybody is an individual and everybody's hurting and everybody deserves to get the best from who they choose to work with that is about focused on them and not this AI generated word salad of these coaches who promise you everything but say things like, you first need to understand what a healthy relationship is so you can compare where you've been, where you are right now, to that. No, the last thing you need is another comparative narrative. People get into the comparative narrative when they're ghosted, when they've been that sudden discard of monkey branching. Watch for the video coming soon after this one today about that. Because again, I am countering a Coachie Coach, and I will continue to do so because a certain Coachie Coach felt quite fine to start just copying, pirating, stealing my work, phrases I use, sentences, paragraphs, and then, throwing it out into like it ends up going to hell because they really don't know what they're talking about, even when they copy my words, like from sentences or a paragraph. And if that person sees this, they better cease and desist soon because I put up with it for, I don't know, 6-8 weeks, and I'm not going to put up with it much longer. And may I just add in here, it's just a credibility, authenticity statement. I was the first person in this area, specifically helping people with BPD and helping people who've been hurt by people with BPD, that came to YouTube in 2008. Now, if somebody preceded me was doing that I don't know about, please correct me. But no, there was no narcissistic abuse community. There was no borderline whatever. There were just people with BPD that were manipulating the you-know-what out of an audience that didn't know a whole lot about BPD back then because there wasn't a lot of information online. So in my own way, I've pioneered much. I've been copied a ton. And I don't know, I guess part of that's supposed to be some kind of flattery or whatever. But I value my work. I value why I'm doing what it is I do. I'm not doing it to get rich. I don't put my wallet first. I'm not all, I don't have a big impressive background, like so many people worry about. I'm just here doing what I'm doing because the authenticity and the meat is in the content. And you'll either see that and know that, and if you resonate with me, I would love to work with you and help you to the best of my ability and show you that I care and that I see who you are. And the number one thing that clients need coming from where you're coming from, you need to be seen and heard if nothing else. Good luck with that, with these coaches who are all really about their own projections and their own, like, reflecting their ego off your head, at least in the way they present their content. So, and be careful with AI, and please know that no matter who you choose to work with, what you're doing, how much AI you're using, etc., there's nothing that replaces human care, human seeing you, human hearing you, and human interaction and joining together to help you to heal. And in ways that aren't judgmental. I don't tell anybody anything what to do. I ask questions, I explore with people, I might make a slight suggestion here and there, I give homework, but I'm not saying that in order for you to heal, that you have to do anything specifically the way that I did it whatsoever. Why would that make any sense? And yet that's the backbone of all the people, be they small channels, be they huge channels, that are the Coachie Coaches, or the people that, I'm that the guy out there, I'm a narcissist, so now I'm going to help people understand narcissists. That kind of thing. Dangerous. Really dangerous. Anyway, so is AI. I think we need to network, and when I'm working with clients, we need to join together in your work and healing, and we need to do it human to human with compassion, self-regard and other regard, care, seeing and hearing people, and being real. So that's why my content is the same. I keep it real to help you heal. I'm not going to say things just because it might be what you want to hear, because how's that going to help you? And now there's a Coachie out there parroting that too from me. And it's not okay. But anyway, that's what I have to deal with. What you need to deal with is be careful of AI. Be really careful. Don't use AI as a replacement for therapy, because you need to learn so much about the process in therapy as to how you can be helped to really help yourself. And in the natural order and process of healing, as I work with clients, you will be working toward, in your healing journey, a process of coming to know yourself relate to yourself in a much healthier and functional way. And you will, through that, continue to progress to understand more about what are healthy relationships, what are healthy relationship dynamics, what are healthy boundaries, what's the core of a healthy relationship, and these types of things. You do not need to know that, unlike Coachie screamed the other day or whatever, a Coachie. You do not need to know right now what a healthy relationship is, because you don't know you well enough, and especially after being traumatized by a borderline or a narcissist or, a psychopath or whatever, you need to reclaim yourself and rebuild yourself, but you don't need to make yourself anew. There's a really important part of you that is the core of you, even if it's a little bit lost to you right now. You will learn this in the natural course of responsible therapy and being helped to heal. And Coaches don't know this. So they announce things like, you need to know what a healthy relationship is right now so you can compare it to where... No! That's just something that further crushes people's self-esteem and self-worth. That's like putting the cart way, way, way before the horse. Why? Because Coaches don't know what the hell they're doing. That's why. And why do I say be very careful with AI? Well, it seems like it knows everything, I guess, but it's programmed and now programming itself. And remember, in your healing and recovery journey, what you need more than just whatever information it can scribble up there in a hurry, whether it's good or indifferent or not so good, you need to rebuild how you feel in relation to with yourself and in relation to other people. And I help clients do that all the time. That's the humanity factor. That's the important regard for the client, the Rogerian theory of client-centered therapy. Not, oh, look at my fancy background. Aren't I a hot-looking whatever gender, and all this stuff that's put out there. And they're like, and they know everything, and they've done it all, and they're so authentic. And I'm not going to say anything else about my authenticity, because I think when you're authentic, you don't really have to talk about it. And I think as these Coaches talk about it, what's that say? Be careful out there. And if I resonate with you, I'm out here to work with you. And if you're, finding this content helpful on this channel or my podcast or the podcasts that come to the channel, please do hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll be up. No, you won't be uploaded. No, you won't. AI can't do that to us yet, can it? Anyway, you'll be then made aware of, like, even when I upload shorts or a podcast or a video. Anyway, this is just me keeping it real to help you heal. And this is also me at the same time sending out a message that if any Coachie wants to come by and see it, especially one who thinks that they played me recently, successfully. No, they didn't play me successfully, and I see right through them. And yeah, it's my way of putting some info out there in that way. So anyway, yeah, these are the mean streets of YouTube, of content creating, of other areas on the internet as well. So I got played big time recently, and I knew it before the first session with somebody. And so, yeah, uh, I knew what I should have done, but sometimes we second guess ourselves. We need to learn. I mean, I don't often do that. Bottom line is, when somebody comes along in a certain way, and maybe, there's some things that, there's some truisms to some of it, but there's also a very slick game involved, and I don't like to be data mined, whether that's in one way that I don't want to say anything about, or whether that's just through my content itself. And I'll just say quickly that I don't have a lot of time for this, but I hit up certain channels, I watch, I look at Reddit, I look at Quora, and I'll just lay it out. I've been trolled. I have trolls that I've had for a long time, and yeah, I've with a couple of other social media things online, I've successfully won some things in court because I have sued. So I'm not beyond litigation if you're copying me. So for the people out there that might need to see that, if you see this, then you've been warned. And if you keep up what you've been doing recently, you will be hearing from my lawyer. And that's where it all begins. So I suggest you go back to only your AI, or what I allege is your AI content, and your slick, fast talking stuff, because you and I both know you aren't authentic. And so, for everyone else out there, I just hope you find the content helpful. And when I do this type of thing, I don't find it very palatable, but I do find it sometimes important. And the overall message for everyone else, besides what I just said there, that if one person sees that, they hopefully will take note. My caveat to you, to be very careful who you work with, is not to say, oh, you better work with me or else. No, I'm not saying I'm the only person that could help you. But there are very few, I would say on YouTube, there are very few that stick, especially with BPD, but BPD, NPD. There are others out there that know NPD very well. There are some really wonderful people on this platform and others. And then there are the Coachie Coaches. So you make up your own mind, of course, but just be very careful. Don't let somebody's buzzword line, crazy, I don't know, like sentence, and, oh, I haven't heard that before, that sounds good. People get hooked in by these people because they're actively putting out hooks for you. I'm not doing that, and I hope that you know that. Anyway, as always, take care.